Greetings, citizens of the United States of America, citizens of the planet Earth and all nations around the world. We are standing on a date that is far more than just a promise, or sanctioning, to hold and protect the God-given rights of immigrants and those born within to live out a life in freedom. It is the promise of an idea to limit the power of leaders from dictating rights granted or restricting them. An idea that replaced monarch systems and violent cartels from terrorizing their citizens with threat and coercion. On July 4, 1776, an idea was born which never was allowed before. Since the dawn of Mesopotamia, to the rise of the British Empire, no government order has ever existed quite like the promise of America. The Founding Fathers, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, were members of families who owned slaves and inherited them when they became men. This fact was outside of their control. They were born to a world which had already normalized slavery, and they couldn't reverse it overnight without risking a violent social and civil collapse of the brand new nation they envisioned it to become. Working with broken pieces, they salvaged 13 colonies and turned them into states. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. This was the beginning of what would be the strongest nation of the world, with an alternative government which operated democratically under limited power. Yes. Of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, 41 of them owned slaves. One might point this out as hypocritical of their stance. But again, we must remember these men were born into this madness, and the slaves their fathers and grandfathers owned were handed to them in their laps upon their deaths. It was their feud with the British Empire and the experience of owning slaves which inspired these ideas for a better future nation. George Washington freed 123 slaves on his death. Thomas Jefferson freed 10 of his. It wouldn't be until another 87 years that a Republican president would finally free all slaves in America and was assassinated. And this goes without saying, the 10 million Native Americans who lost their homeland. Nobody is saying it was a flawless process. The blood of rebellion, in pursuit of a free new world, is stained all across its history. America's history and origin story was far from perfect. But the idea it promised to hold was far better than the feudalist-driven monarchies that milked the peasants in Europe, or the violent dictatorships of Africa and Asia. America sought to end this barbaric practice in government forever. We cannot change the ugly past, we can only focus on the present. And if we encourage America to fail, then the only torch of reason and protector of freedom will extinguish and return back to the old world, leaving citizens vulnerable and wide open for the monsters of communism to take over. We cannot let this happen. They will never let freedom back out of its cage again. America was supposed to be the example the world modeled itself from to treat their own citizens, not the other way around. If America falters, powerful people who value control and security over rights will seize it. On this day of independence, let us reflect on the mistakes from the past, our actions in the present, and the direction for the future, because it'd be a crying shame if America ever were to collapse from repeating past mistakes and forsaken the people who sacrificed themselves to create this idea. Thank you for your support in listening to this final 4th of July oration from the Anonymous Legion. We will be closing up this year with our final warnings in the days to come. Good luck to you all, America.